Andrew Tate. Revise history, get ridiculed. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The revision of history is commonly utilised by the narcissist as part of the manipulative repertoire. The vast majority of narcissists don't know what they are, don't realise that they are being manipulative. They believe that their conduct and behaviour is justified. This is because their narcissism tells them that it is. The narcissist will invariably revise history. This might be, for instance, by way of a simple denial, whereby you state, you know you did this, and the narcissist outright denies it. Your ghast is flabbered. How can they deny something that you know to be true, and therefore they must also know to be true? They were there. Are they deliberately deciding that they can't remember, but they actually do? In other instances, it might be the invention of something that's occurred in the past, commonly bringing up the past to suggest that you have done something wrong. Do you remember that time when you were flirting with my best friend? It never happened, but in the mind of the narcissist it did, because the narcissism plants that false memory in order to drive the narcissist to provoke you by bringing up the past and triangulating you with the best friend through this revision of history. You react to it, thus providing fuel, the lifeblood of the narcissist. And eventually you will be brought under control as a consequence of this reminiscence, this anecdote from the past, which is complete fiction. You may well argue and say, no, I didn't, that didn't happen, until such time as worn down by the narcissist's repeated insistence that you did, that in order to just keep the peace, you go, yes, all right, okay, sure, whatever you say, I'm sorry. Thus, you've provided plenty of fuel, and you've demonstrated that you're under control. It might be an embellishment, whereby the narcissist picks something that has occurred in the past and then describes it in a way to embellish circumstances to make them sound good or to make you sound bad. But regularly, the narcissist will revise history, and it is done by unaware narcissists as an instinctive response to the pursuit of the prime aims. They actually do believe what they're telling you. They believe the lie. The lie is their truth. They believe the revision of history because the narcissism tells them that it happened. And when you try and argue and state that it didn't, you're seen as the awkward one. Why are you denying what has happened? How are you not admitting something that we both know to be true? Of course, from your perspective of the majority reality, it didn't occur. Hence, you continue to insist that what the narcissist is talking about is complete bunkum. But from the narcissist's point of view, they believe that it happened. It's a fixed event that they recall because their narcissism tells them. It's like 1984 and the way that the war with Eurasia is over and the war with East Asia has started instead, and that we were never at war with Eurasia. Thus, history is revised. This is where the gaslighting comes from. As I mentioned, this is regularly deployed by narcissists, and the upper lesser type B, that is Andrew Tate, has engaged in a revision of history in order to try and provoke a response across social media. But the problem is that, like many narcissists, his narcissism is focused on the moment without doing any fact-checking, and it has resulted in ridicule. What am I talking about? Well, on X, Andrew Tate wrote, "The Oasis tour isn't just about their music. It's about the height of Britain. It's about the nostalgia of remembering how amazing Britain was. If you didn't live it, you'll never understand it, and it can't be explained. A time when you could go down the pub, interact with people you knew and didn't know, and have the best night of your life on 15 quid. A time when there was always something happening in every city, 7 nights a week. No fear of being stabbed, no fear of being robbed. A time when everyone watched the same TV shows and discussed them the next day. You weren't desperate to go on holiday like the British are now. There was no need. You didn't see Dubai or Maldives on Instagram all day. You literally didn't even know those places existed. You would hang around on a council estate, completely content and want nothing else than to laugh with your friends. Random skinheads would say, "You all right, mate?" and you'd either be best friends or in a scrap 2 minutes later. Nobody got stabbed. Nobody died. It's just how it was. The pub on Christmas Day. The bus was 30 pence. You loved everyone you met, didn't matter the race. The country was united. There was a feeling in the air. Constant electricity. And it's all gone now. It's died. All we have are the songs from those times. Thus, Andrew Tate's narcissism has caused him to generate this comment for the purposes of trying to elicit warm, fuzzy responses from people by conjuring up an image of Britain in the mid-1990s. Well, isn't that lovely? Isn't that delightful that he reaches into his memory and plucks all of those supposed things that made Britain cool Britannia, that made Britain great? Those things from 30 years ago where Britain was a much better place to be and life was much better to live. His narcissism has selected this rambling anecdote for the purposes of provoking a response by causing people to reminisce, to compare the now with then. But there's only one problem with it. The fact is that he is recalling a period around 1996, and the fact is Andrew Tate was born in 1986. So in 95, 96, he was 9 or 10 years old. So how is it that he can remember going down the pub and spending only 15 quid? Remember, if you didn't live it, you'll never understand it and it can't be explained. So the clear suggestion from his post is that he has lived this. But he was 9 or 10 years old. He wouldn't go down the pub and have the best night of his life on 15 quid. What would he know about people being stabbed or being robbed? He was probably playing with his Lego at this point. You didn't see Dubai or Maldives on Instagram all day? Instagram didn't even exist, that's why. Why would he be talking to random skinheads or having scraps with them? He wouldn't. Once again, the talking toe has engaged in a revision of history in order to make himself look good and to provoke a reaction, but the fact is, it backfires spectacularly. For instance, a number of people commented on X as follows. Sam White stated, "Bizarre watching Andrew Tate doing Facebook dad nostalgia posting. Were the cam girls tucked up in bed by 9 p.m? Did they scrape ice off the window?" Paul Sinner comments, "I worked accident and emergency in a quiet district general in 1997. Weekends were a relentless exercise in repairing the wounds of a violent, binge-drinking nation. I stitched up countless people who were in the wrong place at the wrong moment." Thus, the comment of no fear of being stabbed clearly wasn't an accurate one. Sunder Katwala points out, Andrew Tate, born in 1986, was 9 years old in 1995, turning 18 in 2004. 1995 was the peak year for violent crime, which has been falling for 3 decades since. The fact is, Kevin Williams adds, you could line up 48 of the wankiest pop music critics, give them a book of cliches and a 4-week deadline, and they still wouldn't come up with something as insufferably pompous and misguided as this. Holy shit. Alistair Ryder, Andrew Tate was 7 years old when Definitely Maybe was released. The only thing in the 90s he should have genuine nostalgia for are watching Art Attack After School and being too young to be a sex trafficker. Gareth comments Andrew Tate was 8 years old when Wonderwall was released. Accordingly, the fact is, not Brian Kidd's mate adds, quoting Tate, "Nobody got stabbed, nobody died. The band you're referencing came from a city named Gunchester at that point in time, you daft shit." Brendan points out, "God, I wish I could go back to 1995 before anyone had been stabbed or robbed." Jacob explains, "Not what you said before, you don't represent anybody in the UK, you're a prick." This resulted in much ridicule of Andrew Tate as a consequence of people recognising that he's spouting a load of shite, which of course is his modus operandi. Unfortunately, there are certain individuals that are taken in by his bluster. But this is a useful example of how the narcissist engages in a revision of history in order to try and control people in the now, and very easily gets found out to be writing a crock of nonsense because what he's commenting about he clearly didn't experience. Thus, there's character trait acquisition. He's taking the experiences of other people and trying to pass them off as his own, when in fact it can't be his own. And it's so transparent and so demonstrably see-through. But that doesn't matter to him because his narcissism compels him to write this bunkum because he believes that he is right. All that happens is that Andrew Tate, known for being a misogynist sex trafficker who is currently facing continuing legal proceedings in Romania, finds his latest offerings repeatedly ridiculed. He gets fuel, but it's challenge fuel, and it demonstrates him to be the up-his-own-arse individual that many people know him to be, and just results in further ridicule. Once again, a manipulation by the narcissist results in collateral consequences. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.